Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. I trust you had a great weekend. I certainly had a restful one. I'd like to first thank Bonnie Tunya of CNBC Africa for the interview this morning. I was quite outspoken about the oil price and a number of other things. Once I get that link, I'll show it to you. Macro thoughts start with my piece over the weekend, which reads China roils the markets. The news out of China from the apocalyptic scenes in Tianjin, which seem to be a premonition of what the world might look like in a dystopian future, through to the extreme volatility in the stock market and the stream of hardcore data, which climaxed last week with the release of the Caixin factory gauge August PMI, has sent the markets into a tailspin. The PMI data dropped to the lowest level since March 2009. Wall Street experienced its steepest one-day drop in nearly 4 years. Crude oil dropped for an 8th week in what is the longest losing streak for almost 3 decades. The forward crude oil curve has WTI priced at less than $60 a barrel until 2020. Equity markets have become like rabbits caught in the headlights from London to Frankfurt and further afield. It's totally premature to speak of a crisis in China, a senior IMF official told a press conference. In my experience, when policymakers make these kind of pronouncements, it is exactly because there is a crisis. Let me feed you some China facts. China's vast factory sector shrank at its fastest rate in almost 6.5 years in August. China's exports have collapsed to both Brazil, this is just a proxy example, less 17.8% year on year, and Russia down 35.3% year on year. At the moment, none of us can read China, said the CEO of Glencore. I can, and it is going to get a lot worse, I'm afraid. The further problem is that no one believes the data either. This moment, when the market stops suspending its disbelief, is seriously a dangerous one for policymakers. While we do not have enough information to assess all the details of official releases, we share the view that the real GDP growth probably slowed more than reported in recent quarters. This is Wei Yao at Societe Generale. This is what he said to Reuters. The yuan has retreated 5% since August 11, and fears of an intensification of currency warfare has rebounded gold. Gold has rebounded about 8% from July's 5.5-year low. China lifted a lot of sub-Saharan African boats, and from what we know, China-Africa trade clocked about $220 billion in 2014. The repricing of the yuan, which has more to go, is going to mean we're going to ship in more Chinese imports, and we're going to be shipping out less of our exports and at a poorer price structure. I don't think that most of them can hold their currencies by just intervening. This is EcoBank's SEN said in an interview with Bloomberg TV. With China softening up, with China devaluing, it has some implications for Africa. Half of the 20 countries that have lost the most reserves as a proportion of the total in the past year are from Africa. Nigeria's reserves have dropped 20% to $31.6 billion in the past year. Angola's are down 16%, while Kenya's slumped 14% since January. Over in Nigeria, President Buhari missed a golden opportunity to devalue the naira on day one. Emefiele cannot keep his finger in the dike forever, and when there is a tsunami alert. The venerable Economist magazine wrote, unless there are signs of effective governance from Mr. Buhari soon, the surge of confidence that followed his election may disappear. The Egyptian stock market has crashed and is now 19.65% lower year to date. The rand topped 13 to the dollar. This was on Friday. It topped 14 this morning. These are unprecedented times, I concluded. Shanghai Composite fell 8.7% today in its biggest drop since 2007. On the 6th of July this year, I spoke of how over in China the bull market is now being mauled by the bears. And I said, consider that there are more individual investors in the stock market than there are Communist Party members, and you will appreciate that this stock market crash represents probably the biggest political risk to the neo-totalitarian, that was a description by Quartz, Xi Jinping. On the 10th of August, I spoke of how the end is nigh. Home thoughts. Fyodor Dostoyevsky, I like this quotation, one of my friends on Twitter alerted me to. Instead, every human being stood at each moment on the edge of eternity. And then General Void tweeted the Kedarnath temple in the lap of the Himalayas. This is a natural phenomena called the golden moment of the Himalayas. Back to Dostoyevsky. If you want to overcome the whole world, overcome yourself. I am a dreamer. I know so little of real life that I just can't help reliving such moments as these in my dreams, for such moments are something I have very rarely experienced. I am going to dream about you the whole night, the whole week, the whole year. And that made me think of the Rolling Stones' song, She's Like a Rainbow, which I used to like. Political reflections. The mystery of 50 missing North Korean submarines deepened fears yesterday over Pyongyang's threat to fire across the border. South Korea yesterday said the submarines comprising about 70% of a North Korean submarine fleet had left their home ports and were nowhere to be found. When you look at those images of the loudspeakers, you really appreciate the idea of information warfare. And I said, is this loudspeaker standoff in the DMZ the first example of information warfare? I like this from ArtNet. Propaganda faces off with artists in Chicago show, giving rare glimpse inside North Korea life. Reportedly tweeted the apocalyptic scenes in Tianjin. I put that in again because I was referencing it in my article. According to global research, the Syrian army shot down an Israeli F-16 using Russian S-300 air defense system. And that will be a major escalation and possibly a deterrent to Israel. ISIS blows up temple dating back to 17 AD in the Syrian city of Palmyra. Hooligans they are. Newsweek, I like this photo. Mexico's vigilante groups beat back the drug cartels and then the government shut them down. And then this is tweeted by ISIS Karaoke, August 21st. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion. If you know the R.E.M. song, Losing My Religion, it's rather good. International markets, Holger again, tumbling stocks, oil, junk debt raise questions on timing of Fed rate hike. It's been pushed to December. I have given you the link to the article where the IMF official says it's totally premature to speak of a crisis in China. Currency markets, Euro 114.83, dollar index 94.43, Japanese yen 120.49. The pound, that's popped back above 157 at 157.12. The Aussie last trading at 0.7251. Indian rupee is above 66 at 66.635. This is the first time since September 2013 that it's traded above 66. South Korean won above 1200 at 1202.40. The Rial 350.29. Egyptian pound 783.01. And the Rand 1321 at 26 when I had a look. Dollar index, let me put up a 3-month chart. I think we're going to see a further drawdown, and that's because the Fed rate hike is now being moved, in my view, to December. Holger again talks about the big rally on Friday, which is followed through today in the euro. and he's talking about how speculators were being squeezed and how they erased 20% of their net shorts through Friday. Euro dollar, let me put up a 3-month chart. I think the euro is still headed higher. Dollar yen has had a huge move, now at 120.50. Let me put up a 1-month chart of that. And Jonathan Ferro, what happened to the QE euphoria? DAX a whisker from a bear market. Commodity markets, let me take you back to the 3rd of November 2014 when I wrote the commodity super cycle is dead in the water. Have a look at Holger, who talks about global de-risking accelerating, commodities plunged to the lowest in 16 years. On the 23rd of March, I said I expected a sharp slide below $40 a barrel. Over the weekend, when I looked at Mexico, they've hedged half of their crude oil position for 2016, guaranteeing that they'll get at least $49 a barrel. And I said that's probably a great trade. Brent and US crude futures hit 6.5-year lows on Monday to drop below the latest supports of $45 a barrel and $40 a barrel respectively. Other commodities also hit fresh lows in early Asian trading. Besides oil, other commodities tumbled. Heading into September, deep uncertainties surround the global oil markets, including the strength of China's crude demand, resilience of US shale producers, and the depth and the pace of the seasonal downswing in global refinery throughput. Considering how prices have been moving, we do not have much hope for prices to stay afloat, neither do I. Gold, I talked of a rebound as high as 1150, and we're currently at 1155. 10th of August, I spoke about how the meltdown is coming in the crude oil market. I said oil is now in free fall. The end is nigh for the oil-based rentier economies. President Obama, first Kenyan-American president of the United States, and oil warfare specialist, has scored the equivalent of a hat-trick at the World Cup in how he has advanced the US national interest by using the price of oil as a geopolitical spin. Oil-based economies are going to contract, currencies which are already collapsed are going to be routed, and Greek-style austerity is going to be the order of the day. The meltdown is coming, and indeed it feels as if we're in it now. I said the revolution is only just beginning, and I quoted Kapuscinski, if the crowd disperses, goes home, does not reassemble, we say the revolution is over. It isn't, it's just about to start. Javier Blas on Friday kindly tweeted me the Brent and NYMEX oil curve all the way out to 2020. My target for WTI is $32.50. And then Javier also tweeted the forward curve for copper as well, which is similarly under pressure. Zero hedge, Chinese stocks plunge, Shanghai Composite goes red for the year, wiping out 60% in gains. Taipei shares tumbled more than 7% on August 24, Ireland's steepest ever intraday decline. Midi stocks rout signals no let-up in emerging markets sell-off. Saudi Arabia's Tadawul All-Share Index fell into a bear market Sunday. Dubai's DFM General Index suffered its biggest loss of the year. Egypt's EGX 30 slid the most in almost 3 years, making it the world's second worst performer in 2015. Holger tweeted Saudi Arabia's index crashed by almost 7%. Let me put up that diagram. More doom and gloom. Holger again, Dubai stocks closed down 7%. I'll put that up as well. Coming to Africa, no one can prevent the sun from shining, said Nkurunziza. Speaking at Thursday's ceremony, Nkurunziza said that citizens had fled abroad because of rumours urging them to return and help build the country. He also warned that those who have decided to attack the country, that they will be finished one by one, like scattered powder. Let me put up a photograph of Bujumbura Airport that I took on July the 10th, and a photograph that Padresh tweeted, a dozen shades of green beneath a moody sky, rain rolls in across the hills of Burundi. South African all shares negative 1.49% this year and is at 7-month lows. The rand weakened 3.3% to 13.41. Most since September 11. It fell to 14.07 earlier, the lowest on record. It has dropped 14% this year. Let me put up a 5-day chart, dollar rand, and you will recall my target of 14, but which a lot of people thought I was being very extreme. EGX 30 collapsed 5.42% on Sunday. It's down 23.99% year to date and at 19-month lows. Nigerian all shares down 13.789% year to date. The Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index is down 4.29% year to date. Kenya has joined Tanzania in lifting the cap on foreign ownership of listed firms. That's a good move, but it only came after Tanzania lifted a 60% restriction on foreign ownership. That move saw inflows into the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange increase by 40%. Kenya shilling, last time I looked, 103.74. Nairobi all share down 8.122% year to date, 2.633% above its 2015 low reached on the 5th of August. NSE 20 down 13.835% in 2015, 2.039% above 2015 low reached on the 5th of August. Nairobi all share had a poor week last week. Heavy duty equity turnover, however, most of it in Equity Group, which traded 3.204% of its shares Thursday and Friday. TBS Arena is interesting. It's been on a bit of a bounce. This very bombed out share, people looking for a tourism recovery. Safaricom eased 0.66% on Friday to close at 15. Standard Chartered, we've already spoken about those results. And other than that, the market obviously is being buffeted by external forces. They're going to set the tone this week, I do believe. Once again, thank you for stopping by. I'm always grateful.